Welcome to Unscripted with Daniel. Today we have Jim Kocal and Kyle Nelson both running for Porter County Commissioner Seat 2. Okay, what is Commissioner? Commissioner is basically like the mayor of the county, but you also said that Seat 2, which implies there's multiple mayors? That's correct. There's actually 3 commissioners for Porter County. So now that we have that explained, let's get into these interviews, first starting with Jim Kocal.
Our most basic common link is that we all inhabit this small planet. We all breathe the same air. We all cherish our children's futures. And we are all mortal.
You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite.
Welcome to Unscripted with Daniel, your free, independent news source for Valparaiso and Indiana politics. Welcome to Unscripted with Daniel. Today I have, wait a minute, do you like to be referred to as James Kocal or Jim Kocal?
Jim Kocal.
Jim
Prefer,
Kocal.
Yes.
Okay. Because I think on the ballot.
It is James.
Okay.
Right.
So.
Because that officially is my name, but
I see.
I go by Jim.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, that's important to know.
Yes.
People are going to be looking at the ballot. It's going to say James, but it's actually you, Jim. If they see you, call you Jim.
Vote for Kocal.
Right, vote for Kocal. That makes it simple. So you're running for the commissioner position.
Correct.
Seat 2.
Correct.
Of Porter County.
That is correct.
And could I ask why you're running?
Sure. There's a couple of reasons. First of all, I feel like I am not happy with the way the country is moving and the state is moving, and as well as the county. And so I would like to bring a fresh perspective to the commissioner's position. It has been predominantly Republican for the last couple decades, and I feel as though there's another voice that needs to be presented to the commissioner's position. And I feel as though I would bring a fresh perspective. I'm not a career politician, so I don't have any, strings attached. I have no favors to take care of. I will come here with the mindset of every decision that's being made is how is that better for the people of Porter County.
Mm-hmm. Can you sort of elaborate on the difference that you're going to bring as a non-Republican? You say that it's majority Republican, not just majority, it's all 3, right? So in what way are they governing that you won't as a Porter County Commissioner?
Well, that's a good question. I think that from the meetings that I've attended, it seems as though there's a lot of rubber stamping. There's a lot of things that they've done in the past that they continue to do. And in my opinion, I don't feel as though that they're looking at all options, whether it be about zoning, whether it be about planning for roads, emergency services. Are we doing the best we can for the people of Porter County? And I would go in there, looking at those decisions that are being made. If you've gone to any meetings, everything that gets brought up is everybody agrees. And so one thing I would offer is transparency. What are the decisions? Why are they making these decisions? And some may be good. I often think of Ben Johnson, the head coach of the Bears. I don't know if you're a Bears fan or not, but after a win in the locker room, he has this chant. And it says, good, better, best, never let it rest, till the good gets better and the better gets best. And that will be kind of my mindset going into the position, is because I think there's some good things that are happening here in Porter County, but can we make them better?
Yeah.
And can we make the better the best? So that would be my goal, to look at every single situation, every decision that's made. How are we going to appropriate funds for different projects? And is that the best usage of money? Because, as you might be aware, there's going to be budget shortfalls. The governor of the state is saying you need to do more with less. Okay,
Wow.
well, that's some hard decisions are going to have to be made. And we're going to have to be smart about where we spend our money, how we spend it, and what's our long-term range goals and what are our short-term goals, and meet those, and keeping in mind the citizens of Porter County.
Yeah. Why are these shortfalls happening? Why is the governor...
His platform in order to get elected was to significantly reduce state taxes. So as a result of that, we don't have the amount of money to be spread around. And that's why he's saying, you're going to need to do more with less, which, it's going to be a challenge. There's needs out there, but we have to be smart about where we're going to appropriate funds and how we're going to fund certain programs and what's the priority. And it's going to have to be making some hard decisions, which, I've done most of my life. So I feel comfortable and confident that I'll be able to, share my experiences and give a level-headed, common sense approach to it.
When you talk about how he is basically lowering taxes, and then his claim is that you guys need to learn to live with less, we're having to essentially lower the standard of living. In a way, there's less government services for people because there's less money. So the idea of lowering taxes is to actually help people prosper, but the result of it, he seems to understand that it actually gets rid of government services that help people.
Right. And actually, if you look at it, the people that are really going to suffer is the low-income people, and in the middle class, of course, is just being squeezed between cost of gas, cost of groceries, health care, daycare. I mean, all those things just keep getting higher and higher, and our utility bill now is outrageous. I'm on a budget with NIPSCO. I've been on the budget plan for a long time because you don't have those really highs and the lows. You're like, oh, we don't have to pay as much. But when those big bills come in, especially in the winter when we had bad winters, you get sticker shock. So I like to use the budget plan, which I highly recommend because it's consistent every month. It's the same amount. However, this year, and with the delivery fee cost that they've been adding on, I don't even want to know what my next year's budget is because they always use what you had last year. And then, of course, if there's any extra that you owe, they roll that into the following 12 months. And that's going to go up again. And past 2 years, and then this year, it's gone up like almost $200. I mean, that's hard. I mean, there's people out there that are going to have to they are making decisions on how are we going to pay for this, how are we going to pay for that, where can we cut? And the same thing is being asked to us from the government, and we'll see what we can control about that. We don't want to cut out programs that help people that really need the help, and maybe we're not going to be able to do some of the things that we have planned for in the future. Might have to cut back on some of those projects in order to provide, especially during this time that we're dealing with right now.
I guess the sad thing about the whole situation is that it didn't have to be this way.
No.
The cost that people are bearing is because of Indiana State House legislation.
Correct.
And it's they decided many times to pass the fees on to the consumer instead of letting the corporation, the company, pay for it.
That whole situation just seems concerning, that they did not think about the people, especially up here in Northwest Indiana and primarily Porter County. I'm so glad that the people in Valpo and the people in Chesterton and the people in Union Township fought to not build the data centers here. I mean, data centers are probably, inevitably going to happen, but we need to be smart about it. First of all, the average person doesn't need to be footing the bill for the infrastructure and the need for all the electricity that they're going to need. How is that going to affect us as the customer, and then all the water to cool those units?
Right.
You hear stories, you read stories about other communities where they've put these in, and there's, they have no water pressure. They're worried about their electricity, not losing electricity, because that's obviously going to be a priority. And the just the maddening part about it all is you have multi-billion-dollar companies that are wanting us to foot the bill. It's like, okay, that's like saying I want to open up a candy store, but I'm going to have everybody pay me to build my store, and then when I make profit, it's all mine, as opposed to that being shared amongst the people that contributed to this ability to make profit. So it needs to be looked at. There need to be guardrails as far as, what kind of data are they collecting and how is that going to be used. I mean, there's some wonderful things that we get from AI, but there's also some troubling things. It was just like the internet. When we came out with the internet, it was like, this is the next best thing since sliced bread. And yet we've seen some of the detrimental things that have occurred as a result of the internet. So there's, we need to be cautious about moving forward with this and have guidelines and restrictions and some guardrails put up with where this is going to go. And like I said, it's going to be inevitable that these are going to be built, but let's be smart about where we build them, how are we going to supply the electricity and the water to them, and then once they're built. The other thing too is there's probably going to be some really good paying jobs to build these things, but once they're built, they're probably not going to be a whole lot more for the workforce to do,
right?
Unless you're in IT, and even then, we'll see how many jobs are going to be available at that point in time. So again, we have to be wise about and we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket kind of thing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Legislatively, you have federally sort of a open season on ability to make data centers and things like that. That's, I believe it was a Trump executive order. Somebody can fact check me on that one. But there was something on data centers to make it so that there's basically no regulation. But, I mean, the next best thing, instead of having legislation to prevent that sort of thing, is to have someone who wants to really consider things. You, as a Porter County commissioner, if there was a proposal for a data center outside of the city propers, then you would have a say in whether that could happen, or at least you'd be part of that discussion. Is that correct?
Definitely be part of the discussion. Obviously, there's zoning that needs to take place, and unfortunately, some of these data centers bypass that. So I'm not exactly sure, but I definitely would make sure that we have some say in the matter of where these are built. And again, taking into consideration the impact of the environment, and then the availability of the water that they're going to need, and then the infrastructure for the electricity, the power, and how is that going to affect everybody in the neighboring communities? Because we need to take our people as top priority, and be smart about it. I'm sure there's areas that would be viable places to locate them. It seems, from what I've been seeing, is that a lot of these places are being built close to residential areas, and there's also concerns about light pollution and noise pollution, which also needs to be taken into consideration. So all those factors, I think, would need to be looked at prior to that taking place. And I hope that us, as the county commission, have a say in that matter, and we can have some pushback as to where they want to set up shop.
Yeah. That would be important.
Yeah.
I believe I remember that there was an Indiana bill where if there is farmland that is considered to be subpar, that they don't even have to ask for the farmer's permission. They can just go ahead and roll in with the data center. They don't need public comment. They don't need anything.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, some of them that have been built, they haven't even taken into consideration of having a meeting with the community, a community meeting to voice their opinions and concerns.
Yeah.
And NIPSCO has done that with the whole increase in rates and stuff like that. But what actually gets done, I'm not exactly sure what they can do. Hopefully that they can give some people some relief on their bills. If not, what has happened in the past moving forward, that they can do something for the folks that make things more affordable, because people are really struggling to make ends meet. And
Right.
And it's troubling that people are making decisions about, food. Groceries are expensive, so they're cutting back on that, and now they can't afford their utility bill, and rent goes up, and taxes go up for people with mortgages, and it's it's a snowball effect.
Yeah.
And so let's hope that I think it's the utility committee that's looking at that to see if there's anything that can be done for the folks here in Porter County.
Yeah. Right now, legislators don't like health care or welfare for people, but they love it for corporations,
Right.
it seems. And it's backwards.
It is. And the thing that's troubling is you have companies that are extremely profitable, and yet they're still getting subsidies. And I don't understand that. I could see if it's an important industry and they're not doing as well as they could be. Yeah, we need to help them out because we need this. Let's say, for instance, if it was NIPSCO, and we need the gas and electric, right? So I can understand that. But last year they made like $900 million in profits. The year before that, $700 million in profits. I mean, they're making a lot of money. So why are we paying more for our power?
It'll trickle down. Don't worry.
Yeah, the trickle down doesn't work. We all know that. And
Yeah.
we have more than enough experience with the trickle down not working.
Oh, man. But the bootstraps.
Yes.
No.
Pull yourself up by him. Pull yourself up by him. Yeah.
Even though when that phrase was created, it was a joke to say that it's not possible.
Right. Yes.
But it's so funny that they use that anyways. So let's see. What else do we want to... So, how are you qualified
Okay.
for the commissioner's position?
Well, let me tell you a little bit about myself. First of all, I've been a Northwest Indiana resident all my life.
Yeah.
I've called Porter County my home for 20 plus years. So I'm familiar with the area. I'm familiar with a lot that goes on here in Porter County and in our neighboring counties. I'm a family man, so I have 3 grown children. 2 of them graduated from Purdue, 1 graduated from IU, so yes, we are a house divided. But I also have 7 grandchildren, and so my concern is their future, my kids' future and my grandkids' future. And I grew up in a blue-collar home, so I know what it's like to work hard and to try to make an earnest living. My dad was a concrete truck driver. He was a Teamster, and he unfortunately passed away at a young age, and he left my mom with a 12-year-old, which is me, and a 15-year-old and an 18-year-old, and she was a hairdresser at that time. So she knew, being a responsible provider, she knew she had to get a good-paying job, or a better-paying job than a beautician, and consistent income, as well as good benefits. So so she went to work in the steel mill. So she went to work at Inland Steel at 42, and I didn't find out until I was much younger, and she had already retired. She told me that every day she wanted to quit. Every day. It was a hard job. It's when you work in the mill, and I did. I worked in the mill every summer when I was in college. It's hard. It's dirty. It's dangerous. In the winter, it's freezing. In the summer, it's burning hot. And she did it for over 20 years. So I give her a lot of props for that. But that's the mindset that I come in with, a hardworking, put your nose to the grindstone kind of a person. I've always had that attitude throughout my whole life and my career. I too, at 12, started working. So I worked for 50 years.
Wow.
I had odd jobs. I cleaned apartment complexes and mowed lawns and detailed cars and you name it. There was no job that was below me to do. And as I got married, I've been married for 45 years, going on 46 in June. Being a family man and a provider, that you are it's all on you. It's on
Yeah.
your shoulders. So you have to make tough decisions. So my career, I was in business for 33 years as a business professional. I worked for pharmaceuticals and was, had to manage territory, had to manage budgets, had to meet goals, make decisions, make tough decisions, and in order to be successful. And I did that. I also, prior to that, I was a high school science teacher. So, there's organizational skills that are responsible for that. There's strategies and working with a diverse group of people, both in sales as well as teaching. And then I have 30 plus years of coaching. So I've coached at all levels, everything from little kids all the way up to, I coached a 30 and over women's soccer team, but I was a varsity high school basketball coach. So, you have to work within a framework of building a team for a common goal, and to meet those goals and have strategies and be a leader yourself. So I think that there's a lot of tangible skills that I've had in my career that I can bring to the commissioner's position.
I could definitely see that. That's really great. I'm blown away at the roster. You started working at 12. I don't think a lot of people these days, this generation, start working at 12.
And you know what? I have to say that I have some grandkids, and they're hard workers.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is it's been something that we've passed on to our children, and our children are passing that down to the next generation. And it's like, you want to get ahead, you got to work. And not everything is given to you. And I think there's a valuable lesson by working to have the sense of pride, self-accomplishment. You can look at a project that you did, whether it's even just raking leaves or, shoveling snow or whatever, cutting the grass. They have an accomplishment, and they achieve that accomplishment. And if they can make a couple bucks on the side, that's even better, because now I know my one grandson, he's saving his money because he's always got some game he wants to buy or some controller or whatever. But it's good because, he also, and most of them are being taught how to save money, put money into a savings account. Yeah. And those are all valuable lessons that people learn, and those will carry on through the rest of their lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, too, I'm a people person, so I've worked with a lot of different people and been really successful, get along with pretty much everybody. And I think the other component, I know I'll be coming in if I get elected to be working with Jim and Ed, and we'll need to find common ground in order for us to move forward and do the best for the people of Porter County. And I've worked with the opposition before, and there's a level of decorum and professionalism that needs to be kept. But I've gone to a couple meetings, and I've seen them in action. And I do believe that, their goal, it appears, is for the best of the people here in Porter County. And I know there was one project that was being presented for a first reading, and I was kind of impressed because some of the questions that Jim Biggs asked were good questions before moving forward to the second reading. He was thinking about things that they either didn't think about or they were trying to not bring to their attention. Yeah. And he was like, well, hey, what about this? What about that? Did you do this? Did you get that? And they were like, no. And I like that. I like that before he's, giving his stamp of approval. And it was good to see, because it wasn't, throughout the whole course of the meeting, there was never any of that dialogue. And it was good to see that dialogue, because it feels as though, he's challenging them to think, about, let's say, an emergency vehicle had to come to this business. How are they going to get access to it? Right. How is that fire truck going to be able to turn around on that property? Those are all legitimate, good questions. Right. And then traffic flow and all those other things, which, the commissioners are responsible for. The roads, traffic flow, whether it's stop signs, stop lights, roundabout, whatever you want to say. Mm-hmm. And there are some really good things here in Porter County. I think that as far as traffic flow now, one of the beautiful assets we have in Porter County is the dunes. Yeah. And if you've ever gone there on a beautiful sunny day in the summer, long traffic line. Yes. We need to do something about that. I mean, you want to be on the beach, right? You want to be there, and it's taking you an hour to get into the park. something has to be done. Now, there's a lot of people that already have, seasonal passes or annual passes or lifetime passes.
Yeah.
We need to have a lane. It's just like the toll roads.
Sure.
The express lane. If you don't have the iPass, you got to go stand in there and, give
That's
them
a
your
great
credit
point.
card. Those people should have some sort of badge, with a code on it. You just go through, it gets scanned, and you move forward, and you keep the traffic going in.
Yeah.
And the people that don't have that then have to wait in line, and they'll probably get a pass the next time when they
Right.
see where are all these cars going, right?
Yeah.
So, that's just some of the things that I think about when I'm out there. And, as being a territory sales rep, I've driven all around Northwest Indiana, even central part of Indiana, and I had some territories in Illinois. So I was on the road every single day. And I would see things that just didn't make any sense. Like it took forever for them to put in a turning lane, that people would be stopped in traffic. Traffic's backing all the way because someone's going to turn left on a rural road, right?
I see.
How about
Yeah.
we put a turning lane, put a left turning lane, maybe a right turning lane. So even though it's a stop sign, and of course the roundabouts solve all this problem, but there's people that don't like roundabouts,
Right.
But I think it's a great thing because it just keeps traffic moving, and as long as the people know how to drive in a roundabout. But
Yeah.
there's always somebody that stops when they don't need to stop. It's like, keep it going, moving,
Yeah.
But anyways, those are some of the skill sets that I would bring to the position. And again, like I said, I can work with people. It's not a left versus right. It's a right versus wrong, and that would be my mindset. Is that is this good for us? Is it good for us as taxpayers and good utilization of taxpayer money?
That's a good perspective to have because you're going to be working with them.
Right.
Probably.
Yep.
Well, for sure. So the final thing is, do you have any ways that people can get involved in your campaign?
Absolutely.
If people wanted to?
I have an email address, and I am working on a web page, actually. I should have that any day now. But it's kocaljim@gmail.com.
kocaljim@gmail.com. Okay. I'll put it up on the screen, so you'll see it. I don't have to write it down.
All right.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. This has been a great interview.
Yes.
Well, I'll let the people in the audience decide whether it's great or not. I don't want to, whatever. Leave a comment below as far as any questions that you might have for Jim, and I'm sure we can get them answered. Maybe they can send it to kocaljim@gmail.com.
That would be great.
And or he can jump into the comments when that happens, when this gets published.
Awesome.
So thank you very much for the interview.
You. Yes.
And
it's been a pleasure, and love to come back.
Good luck.
All right, thank you.
And now for a short commercial break. Do you enjoy Unscripted with Daniel? Then you should go to my YouTube channel and click subscribe. If you're listening on the radio, you can do it after you listen to this broadcast. Do you like WVLP and support this radio station and like what it brings to your ears today and other days? Consider supporting WVLP by going to wvlp.org/support. And now back to the show. Welcome to Unscripted with Daniel, and right now I have Kyle Nelson. Is that pronounced right?
Yes, that is 100% right.
Pretty simple name, but you never know. So he's running for Porter County Commissioner, Seat 2.
Yes.
And go ahead and just sort of introduce yourself. Tell me why you're running.
Well, as you said, my name is Kyle Nelson. I have been a lifetime Northwest Indiana resident. My wife and I moved out to Valpo approximately 13, 14 years ago now. And I've lived in Valpo the entire time. We met in Valpo, so kind of, we figured it was a good place to set up home.
Oh, yeah.
I am primarily running because I think the county needs a more dynamic leadership. I think it needs more everyday working individuals. I am a bartender and manager at a brewery, and I work basically just about every day, 40 to 50 hours a week, helping with whatever, wherever I can. So I really think I bring a bit of a working class knowledge, working class ethic, hard work ethic to a leadership role. So
now, I don't know too much about the commissioner as far as how much time commitment it is. Mm-hmm. Would this be something that would basically make it impossible to have that other job, or would the commissioner be a whole job on its own? So
the commissioner would be my full-time responsibility if elected. Where I work is very understanding with that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. They would, work around any sort of scheduling that I would have. And kind of the good thing is the commissioner is a daytime job, essentially, whereas bartending is a little bit of a nighttime job. Mm-hmm. So, I would still be able to do some nights and weekends and that sort of thing, working-wise. But I would, if I'm elected, fully invest myself into being the commissioner of the county, one of the 3 commissioners of the county. So
what does it look like being somebody that brings a working class perspective into the commissioner's office, into seat 2?
Yeah. We've had, for lack of a better term, it's a bit of a retirement home and also a place where a lot of politicians like to go to sit and plan for another run, for another position. The current seat holder is running for the local congressional seat, obviously.
Barb Regnitz.
Barb Regnitz is, running against Frank Mervan, the current incumbent. So it is going to be an open seat. On the opposite side of the ticket, the 2 Republicans who are running are longtime political candidates, longtime political seat holders. They've become a little bit of a career politicians. So I am bringing a little bit of an outsider's look into things and a little bit more of I'm not that career politician. So
I know the 2 people who you're talking about, Mike Brickner, mm-hmm. and first name escapes me, but last name is Dykes. Sidney Dykes.
Yes.
And so what exactly have they done in politics? What is their what justifies them or declares them as career politicians?
Well, so Cindy Dykes is now she has been term limited in her current position. And Mike is coming from the county council to run for commissioner.
I see.
So
they've been doing politics for a while.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. And these people are not like you because, they're coming from a political career. But, eventually you could come from this position into another political job. That's possible too.
That is possible too. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to make this a career. I'm hoping to make this more of a help change our community. One of the main reasons why I'm running, I believe our current commissioners and the current commission itself does a terrible job in communicating and educating the public in what they do. Mm-hmm. So it's possibly not known. There is currently a seat open in the Westchester Public Library Board that they are currently accepting applications for. It says on the county commissioner's website that they would post that on social media, on their social media pages, as well as the website. It is posted on the website, which I'll give them credit for that, but they have not made any sort of social media posts since the middle of January. And there's been a few different, positions that are, and I'm not saying that social media is the be all end all, and that's where we should be getting all of our information. Obviously, that is not the thing.
Right.
Another one of the problems is if you go and you watch one of the commissioners' meetings, if you've ever tried to watch, they record all of their commissioners' meetings. If you try to watch them, one, they're not closed captioned, which I believe is a huge issue for accessibility. It is also very difficult to hear the actual audio of the commissioners' meetings. I'll give an example. A lot of the commissioners like to kind of sit back in their chair like this and talk away. You can't hear if you start doing that. So you need to, I don't know if it's so much they need to be trained, or if it's just there's also better audio equipment that could be, purchased by the county if you have people who are going to sit back in their chairs and talk like this. I really think, accessibility to the meetings so that the general public knows what the commissioners are doing, because they're working with millions of dollars in budgets. We should probably be looking into, or be able to look into, what they're doing with this money.
Right.
The other thing is education. My number one question I get when I tell people I'm running for county commissioner is, county commissioner, what is that? What do they do? So my goal is to, one, educate people on what the county commissioners do. They're the legislative and executive branch of our county government. They oversee the government buildings. They oversee highway maintenance for county roads. They run stormwater management, emergency 911 services throughout the county. It's a very long list of things that the commissioners do that I just don't think the general public knows. And the general public is kind of fed up with government at all levels, up and down. I feel like there's a lot of disdain for government in general. So I think if they actually knew what was going on at the local level, maybe they wouldn't be so angry, or maybe they'd be even more angry, and there would be even more, and government change in the government starts at a small local level. And this is a small local level way of me being able to help make what I feel like are significant changes.
I think you have a great idea there. You're definitely right that they will either be less angry or even more angry, because if they see the problem and know who is implicated in that problem, who is the one who caused that problem, then they really actually know who to point at. Yeah. And the other thing is, hold them accountable.
And the other thing is, they know who they can go to talk to about
or just
the problem.
Talk about it, right?
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I want to be able to do, is I want to be able to be out there for people to come talk to me about, you got a problem with, County Road 100, let's say, come talk to me. Let's see what I can potentially do. Can I put something on, an agenda? Can I put it, maybe if, it's something that's being ignored, it can get moved up in terms of an improvement of some sort. So just an example, I have no knowledge of any of the roads if
they do have
problems, but
right.
Yeah. So
I think a lot of it is communication. To be a good politician is to be able to communicate with your constituents.
Exactly.
And sort of sometimes have to make, what's the word? Compromises.
Yes.
Because there's not unlimited money.
There's not.
Yeah.
No.
I was reading about MMT, but I won't go on to that, a diversion in that. But the state cannot print infinite money, but the federal government can, but so state is limited.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Anyways, so obviously when it comes to poor audio, that could be something that you could bring to their attention, or somebody else could. But it sounds like, are they really not asking people if they're having troubles with these roads and the various things that
they do? They do have. I mean, it's an open, like, the commissioners' meetings are open. They have public comment. The thing is, I feel like the public doesn't know when the meetings are. Is another problem. There's no. I mean, besides the county's website, there's no postings for when meetings are held. There's no, call outs for, hey, we have, these different things available. So. Yeah,
I think that this sort of government is the government of the future, where we need to actually integrate these different types of social media, where people are actually at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People
are on Facebook, people are on TikTok. It might seem cringy or lame, but I mean, that's where people are at. And if we're going to have a democracy, then we need to reach out to them so that they can actually say where there's a problem and they can have that input. Otherwise, we're just dealing with oligarchs. There's probably a problem here. I saw the problem.
Yeah.
So that must be where the problem's at. So, I think that's the future of it. That's the important thing that a younger generation brings to politics. How old are you, by the way?
No, great question. I'm actually going to be celebrating my birthday this Saturday.
Congratulations!
Coming up, it's it'll be my 39th birthday. So I'll be 30. I'm currently 38, about to be 39.
Wow!
So yes,
Young Democrat.
Yes.
You should come to the next Young Democrats meeting this coming Tuesday, but it'll be the 24th, and this won't air until later on. Anyways, so let's see here. We covered a lot. Let's see. Is there any particular thing about you that qualifies you for the office? What experience brings you to think you can serve? Because people want to know, is the leader that they're going to be electing competent?
Yeah. One of the things that I truly believe is anyone can serve. I'm not saying that, I'm, anybody, but like, I do think I do hold some qualifications for this. I have in a previous career, let's say, before back when I was in college and just out of college, I worked for the Regional Planning Commission here in Northwest Indiana.
Yeah.
They have a seat for one of the county commissioners for each of the three counties in Northwest Indiana. So one of the three Porter County commissioners would sit on that board. So I have worked in the past with some of them. I worked primarily in their environmental division, and I worked primarily on community outreach and communications, particularly for their stormwater management program that they were holding. It essentially let people know where their tax money was going, why they were getting an extra, I think it was at the time, an extra $10 fee on their water bill, where that fee was going, why that fee was being attached to things. So I do have some experience in local government with that. I also think I'm a little bit uniquely qualified in that as part of my job on a daily basis, I listen to what people want. I deliver them what they want in a way that I can provide. So if someone comes up to me and says, I want, a chicken sandwich, I can't, if I don't have a chicken sandwich, I can't get them a chicken sandwich, but I can point them to, what they actually want. So I help in that I serve, the community through, my current work experience. And then also, bring a little bit of management experience into that as well, because there are 25 people who work with me. So I have to manage their personalities, manage the conflicts that they have, and all of that good stuff. So,
yeah, I mean, that sounds like managing a community in a way on a sort of a smaller level.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that. I mean, AOC was a bartender, right?
Correct, yes.
So, I mean, and she's real firebrand, making a difference.
Yes.
Now, let's see here. Now, when you become a commissioner, I won't ask you for a sandwich, right?
No. But you could potentially ask me to, improve some sort of some road if there's some way that I could do that. Obviously.
Okay. So you want to change the community or help change the community. In what way do you want to change it?
I don't know. Change, sure.
Okay.
Improve.
Okay.
I really think that, again, education is going to help improve our community. A more informed voting populace is a better voting populace. I think there are some that don't want to, I feel like they try to obfuscate what is going on in the government. I think if there was one change I could make, it would be, shine light on these darker areas of the government that people just don't know about.
Yeah.
So.
Now, I mean, I think I have to go on a diversion because it's on my mind, but like education in general, I feel like Republicans generally don't like it. They don't like free education. They don't like public education. They value vouchers over funding their schools or paying their teachers. Really, they're not on that well of even a living wage,
yeah.
I would say. But now, as a question, does that have anything to do with public education? Is that something that...
So the commissioners don't oversee any real public education. That's going to be more of your school boards, because we do have local school boards or local elected school boards throughout most of the county, Valparaiso notwithstanding. But yeah, so for the most part, that's going to be your general school board is making the decisions on like educators' salaries and all of that stuff. The commissioners wouldn't really oversee it. The main thing, the commissioners mainly oversee the I'm blanking on the words for it. Basically anywhere that is not a city or a town.
Right.
Wow, words are literally escaping my mind. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
But yeah, so they would oversee the all of the non-city and town unincorporated area. That's the word I'm looking for. Is unincorporated.
Okay,
all of the unincorporated
right.
areas of the county is kind of their main oversight, as well as county grounds, county buildings, county employees. So anything that the county would oversee. We don't have a county-wide school corporation, so there wouldn't be, an oversight for them.
It's kind of like county council, right?
It is, essentially, yes.
So that's the same general thing that they're governing over. Now, to go back to what you were saying about feedback in education, I definitely agree, though, that it's if people are, obviously communicating back to you what the problem is, then you guys can fix the problem. So educating the people on what things should be brought to your attention.
Exactly. And if they bring something to my attention that, isn't something that is in my purview, pointing them to the right person, to the right department, to the right government organization to potentially help with what they need.
It's a big task to do, but I think there's no one better than a young person who knows how to use social media to be able to communicate with people. I immediately think of Austin Bonta, the Portage Mayor.
The Portage Mayor, yes.
And just the way that he's constantly out there on social media, not in like a bad, unhealthy way, but just asking and showing people what's going on in the community. He's setting a real good example for the future of politics. And
another one that I'd like to shout out is Greg Coulter out of Michigan City. He is one of the county councilmen in Michigan City. He does a great series before and after every city council meeting. He will post a video to his Facebook, to his Instagram. I personally am not on TikTok, but if I find out that's where more people are streaming towards, going towards that as well. I'm not sure if he posts on TikTok or not, but I know that he does it on Facebook and Instagram. He posts these videos of here's what the county, for the pre-council meeting, he'll go, here's what we're talking on. Here's, what we're voting on. Here's why I am voting these ways. And then after the meeting, he'll pick up here's what we talked about in the public comment period, because they get a lot of public comments,
right?
And here's where I think we need to move on from these sorts of things. So I think he's another great example of what we need from our local politicians.
Now,
what I would strive to do.
Sounds like a great model for any politician these days. How do you spell his last? So it's Greg Coulter or Holter?
Coulter. Coulter.
Coulter. Okay, gotcha. I'm going to look him up.
Oh yeah.
Because that's cool. Let's see. Do we have any other questions? How about you? Are you doing any door knocking? How should people help you?
Yes. So
if they like the sound of Kyle Nelson, what should people do?
So I am going to be starting door knocking here. I just got some flyers and door hangers printed. So I'm actually going to probably be leaving the studio here and going out and doing some door knocking. It's a little cold out there, but I've got a couple extra jackets in the car to throw on. If you're interested in door knocking, if you're interested in just, emailing and talking with me, Kyle for Poco. It's the number 4, Kyle for Poco on Facebook, Instagram, and then my website is kyleforpoco.com, again with the number. I've tried to make it pretty simple for people to remember. Figured I'd wear the shirt today to let people know as well. Anything that anyone is willing to offer to the campaign, I'm more than willing to, listen to what they have to offer, and I will utilize them in whatever way I could potentially utilize them.
I see.
So,
well, you know what? Thank you so much for coming in.
Dan, thank you.
You're very welcome.
So,
and I hope, if the audience, if you guys have any questions, please ask them in the comments. And I'll
come into the comment section. I'll jump in and if if you see either Kyle Forpoco or Kyle Nelson, I'll probably respond interchangeably on accounts because, flipping through accounts on my phone sometimes is confusing. You never know which one you're on.
Right. True. Yeah. I have the same problem.
Yep.
Anyways, thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time.
The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish.
So let us not be blind to our differences, but let us also direct attention to our common interests and the means by which those differences can be resolved. And if we cannot end now our differences, at least we can help make the world safe for diversity. For in the final analysis, our most basic common link is that we all inhabit this small planet. We all breathe the same air. We all cherish our children's futures. And we are all mortal.
You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite.
Welcome to Unscripted with Daniel, your free, independent news source for Valparaiso and Indiana politics. Smothered by love till it made me choke. Been liquored up and stoned down. I was sober as a judge 'cause my stash ran out. But all I know